All right, guys, I'm here to help you with some of the distributive property stuff we learned in class. This is for worksheet 64, which is called How Do You Make a Milkshake? And we're going to use a distributive property to find the equivalent expressions below, right? There's a list on the bottom. So what we're going to do first is, just like we learned in class, my arrows are going to come out kind of funky just because we can't write very well like this. Okay, there's my arrow. So we're going to take this first term here. So we have 8 times x, right? Which is just 8x. And the next thing I'm going to do is just bring down the plus sign. And then I'm going to take my arrow and I'm going to multiply the next part. This is the key to this. It's just whatever I do to this one, I need to do the next one, right? So 8 times x and then 8 times 2, which is 16. And that, my friends, is it. That's how you answer it. If you guys wanted to write out each step, kind of like we did in class, I'll do it on this next one so you can see exactly what we're doing. So again, I'm going to take my arrow. I'm just going to go here. I'm going to times this first. Oh, this is an arrow, guys. I know. It doesn't look very pretty. So I'm going to have 5 times 7x, right? Plus, I'm just bringing my plus straight down. I'm going to go here again and say, oh, that's a better arrow. Look at that. 5 times 4, right? So then I work it out. So 5 times 7 equals 35. And I bring my x over there too. It's just going to stay the same. Bring my plus sign down. And then 5 times 4 equals 20. And that's it. That's my answer. And what we were talking about in class, I don't know if some of you guys caught it or not, is that sometimes these terms, they mean the same thing, as long as there's an addition here. 20 plus 35x is the same as 35x plus 20. It's the associative property. So you can actually flip these around if you need to, because some answers are flipped around. I think it usually has the variable in front. So if I got 20 plus 35x, it's the same thing as 35x plus 20. All right, these last two I'm going to work out for you guys are, we're doing the opposite. So instead of distributing it in, we're actually going to like factoring out, right? So what we're going to do is figure out what numbers can go into both these numbers and find our greatest common factor. We can do the layer method, the cake layer method, or the tease to figure it out. Sometimes you can just know, like if I see this smaller number, which is 8, and does 8 go into 32? It does, right? It goes in there 4 times. So my greatest common factor is going to be 8 on this one for sure, because that's the biggest number that can go into both of these numbers, because 8 is the biggest number that can go into 8. So I'm going to do that. You know, that's taking a shortcut, so I'm going to show you guys what we do if you guys can't figure that part out. So I'm just going to do my little cake layer method, right? You guys remember this? We're going to put 8 and 32. Let me space it out a little bit. I'm going to divide them both by 2. I'll get 4 and 16. Right, if I divide them both by 2. And then I'm going to make the next layer of this upside down cake. See, now you guys know why we learned this earlier in the year, right? I can divide both these by 2 because they're even numbers again. So then I would get 2 and 8. And then let me do my next layer. And I know I could have done it by a bigger number, but I'm showing you guys if they're even, I can always just divide by 2, right? And that's kind of my safe one I usually go to. So then I have 1 and 4. So then when I do it this way, I multiply these on the left side, my GCF. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 2 equals 8. So then now I'm going to take away 8 from each of these. So I'm going to have 8 on the outside, then parentheses, right? It's going to look like one of these up here. So if I take 8x and divide by 8, which is what I'm doing, I'm left with just x, right? And then plus, and 32 divided by 8 is going to be 4, right? So that's my answer. I just factored out 8, right? Because if I multiply it back in, if I go 8 times this, I get 8x plus 32, which is what we had at the beginning, right? So it's the same thing, we're just doing the opposite now. So over here, let's do the same thing. I'm going to take my my cake layers, right? I'm going to put in 18 and 30. So what's the biggest number that I can divide both these numbers by that I can think of? 9 goes into 18, 2 goes into 18. Can't think of anything else, so let's just divide by 2. We'll see what we get. So then I get 9 here, and I get 15 here, right? Oh, look at that. Now it's bringing up another number. I can divide both these numbers by 3, can't I? So I'm going to take 3 out. I get 3 here, and I get 5 here. And I can't divide these by any more because they're basically prime numbers. And now I know that this is it. I'm going to multiply these outside numbers. 2 times 3 equals 6. So I know 6 is going to be on the outside of my parentheses. So I have 6 parentheses. And now what's 18 divided by 6? That would be 3, right? And don't forget that x that's next to it. Plus 30 divided by 6 is 5. Whoops, 5. So there's my answer. 3x or 6 times 3x plus 5. So that's how you solve these. Good luck. If you guys need more help, try it the best you can. Follow your notes and just see what I did. Do it again. And then come with questions if you guys are still confused. All right. Have a good one.